I was diagnosed February 2022 with cancer. And that's where I was like, okay, well, that I'm going to have to instill some discipline. I'm going to have to work on this.
Yeah.
And I can't take, I have not taken anything in life up until that point as serious as what I was going to have to take that. And it was forced upon me. And that kind of pressure, that like involuntary adversity that I, at least I talk about a lot, with people and like, and even there yesterday at the speech, which I enjoyed, by the way.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, dude.
Love that.
A lot of fun.
But talking about that kind of like involuntary adversity that was, you know, kind of thrown upon me and you as well. Like that's just, that is so, it's so much to get over, and it is a forcing, it is like a tsunami of life coming at you saying, guess what? You don't have a choice. Well, I guess you do have a choice. You could succumb to the pressure of this. You could succumb to with me not having discipline really instilled in my life up until that point. I could have succumbed to the pressure. I could have just absolutely, you know, what is that, like, willowed and pitied?
Yeah.
Just stay in this world of pity.
You see people do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were times where like you considered that. I'm sure there were pressures where, you know, you felt like, oh, it'd just be easier if I just like let this happen.
And in talking with a lot of people, not a lot of people, a few people within the cancer center, and I'm speaking from experience. There's nothing malevolent that floats around this. Okay, I'm merely recalling conversations. When I was at the Belpre Cancer Center talking to other cancer patients, there was not a whole lot of positivity there at all. And I'm not saying how dare they. You should all be positive, but the reason why that I was able to start into that journey was one, I was expecting it to be a 6-month process, and I was going to be done.
Yeah.
But two, it was because those first 2 months, you and Lauren took me in, and you kept me so occupied, so overwhelmingly occupied. Yeah. But you knew that that's what I needed, and I needed that, and it worked so bloody well. Like I needed that, like, you know, cooking meals, prepping meals, lifting, just hanging out with friends in general. You knew that I did not need to sit in my bedroom for hours and days at a time, you know, and I didn't, and that it worked fantastic. But then as soon as I was for the first technical relapse and upgraded to Cleveland, that was a very big change. That's where I realized that I would have to fall upon that discipline that I had started to work on, but it wasn't there. And I was taking it very, very seriously, but just the discipline wasn't there. And that's those two factors that I really was not able to procure and to work on. I wasn't even to like the maintaining stage yet. Like I was still working on that stuff. And so when I was upgraded to Cleveland in the middle of 2022, those 4 months were hell because I didn't surround myself with other people. I was alone. I moved out of your guys' house, so I was alone. I didn't train. I maybe walked around the block, but that stopped very quickly. And I didn't really, I didn't really cook for myself. I just kept cooking like, ground beef and potatoes. Yeah. I didn't season this stuff, for Christ's sakes. So it was just like, I allowed that boredom. I allowed that lack of motivation, and I allowed that cloud of just directionless, mindless wandering get to me.
Well, because one thing that if you've never been on chemo before, I don't think you can fully appreciate this. One really, I want to say like crucial but terrible thing chemotherapy does is it strips your humanity away from you. And it does it slowly, and it does it malevolently, and it does it before you even realize what's happening. And it's every single day you get a little bit sicker. Every single day you get a little bit less human. And it's the only way to combat that is to fuel your humanity, that piece of it that you can cling on to, that little bit that's left of it. Or else, you see those things pop up and that's how people get to that space of just like showing up to sit in the chair and stare blankly ahead of them because they feel that there's just nothing left in the world for them. Like they're a unit whose only responsibility, whose only job, whose only purpose in life is to show up, sit in that chair and get pumped with poison. And it's because that's the message we receive. And I'm not telling anybody to not do chemo. That's not at all the message I'm giving. The message I'm saying is you have to fight ferociously to maintain that humanity. And you have to have people in your lives help you fight ferociously to maintain that humanity, because I hate this word, this treatment for this disease is so it is so vicious that it will strip that humanistic piece away from you. And that's why that's why we talk about the spiritual domain of performance, because whatever your beliefs in religion or spirituality or whatever it is, there is some spark of life that we have as human creatures. And whether you want to call it consciousness or you want to call it God or whatever it is, I'm not here to fight about that. There's some spark of life, of humanity, of vibrance, of vitality, of passion, of purpose that we have. And when that is stripped away from us, it is worse than death.
Yeah, you got me there with that.
Because you know what it's like.
Staring into
You know what it's like to be in that chair and slowly slip into that.
Yeah. Well, and to also see others going through that. Because I, especially in Cleveland, I went from, a 16 or 20 chair cancer center in Belpre to
hundreds,
a lot of chairs, and a few different lobbies, and people that you catch their eyes, because obviously for one cancer patient to another you can tell who's who, and just catching their eyes. You see this, you see it, and then you feel this sort of like gale force wind of them pleading for something else to be in there, to sort of be in their reality in that moment. You feel this begging of why am I having to go through this right now? I just wanted to live life, and I was living life. Life was fantastic. But now all of a sudden I have to sit in these pastel gray chairs staring with white walls, white everything, especially in Cleveland. Listen, I appreciate the treatment and everything.
That's why I couldn't believe it. The first time I went to Cleveland with you, I was like, this is their cancer center?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's the walls are white, the floors are basically white. Everyone's scrubs are white, and like everyone's scrubs are white. I don't think of much other color. Maybe the occasional pants, but that's for the doctors. But guess what? I see 12 nurses per every doctor, so it's just like white scrubs, everything. The only thing that's colorful are their shoes. And I definitely complimented on every single person that was wearing On Clouds and not Sauconys or some other, other pairs of shoes, inferior pairs of shoes.
Not to be named due to legal purposes.
But yeah, and so like that's what I got to look forward to. And I mean, even the paintings were just like, they used like most of the, like, because they would have not actual paintings, they would have photos of paintings in each of the rooms. And it was all like contemporary works and stuff like that, of like of someone like poorly drawing yes, this is a judgment. I'm not, I promise you, I'm not ashamed of saying this, but like, of just like these paintings of like, oh, it's a beautiful painting of a field of daisies. And you're like, where are the daisies? I just see the color yellow smashed here and there. And so just little details like that, because guess what? When you're sitting in a chair for 7 hours, you find where every single thing in the room is. And there was another thing that really helped was the majority of the rooms. And that was another thing that I fought with the one time. But the majority of the rooms, you can see the courtyard between the Taussig Cancer Center and the Cole Eye Center. Beautiful courtyard, lots of grass, lots of trees, maple trees, and obviously very much on purpose that they're there to give us something other than white to look at. I mean, even the cupboards are white. It's just insane. Cleveland, I love you, but really. But then there are a few rooms, treatment rooms, that I think need to be used as supply closets instead, that are windowless, that are just you have 4 walls of white, and it's not a big room. I mean, it's maybe a little bit bigger than this room here, and you and the person that you have as your caretaker there has to sit in that room. And my treatment was not 2 hours. It was a 7.5 hour day that I had to sit in that room and just hear that machine click, 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 and just pumping this stuff into me, because that was when I had 4 drugs going into me. And so like it just took so long. That was the experience. That's the experience that the cancer patients there at Cleveland have to sort of go through. And I'm not trying to spit fire towards Cleveland. When you have patients going through that kind of stuff, you know, the actual service itself, you know, they're very quick to help. Obviously, I had an anaphylactic reaction to drugs there. I think it was once in Cleveland and once in Belpre, and the nurses, you know, you were there for that one. The room filled up really quick.
Yeah. But here's the thing I'll say about that though is, and one of the other things I said is they have like physical doors that close you off.
Oh,
and like,
yeah, that was.
If you had been there alone, which many patients have to go alone,
do, yeah.
How long would it have been before they realized you were having an anaphylactic reaction? Because you weren't about to just hop up and turn around and look around and say, "Oh, there's the blue button for code blue." Like you weren't about to do that. No, like nobody would expect you to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how long would it have been before somebody just randomly checked you?
That's a really good point.
Found you.
Because even like the nurse help button, like they don't obviously they're not immediately running to that help button, but like you know, that's just more of like a notification of like, hey, something's going on. But like, yeah, no, that's a really good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, it just shows, and again, like you said, not to attack anybody, but it just shows that like so much of the community of the, I suppose, treatment and management of cancer is just totally out of touch with the experience of the cancer patient. And that's something I think we can do a much better job with, because